I would like to welcome my intern to committee today. We have Paulo Diaz-Padilla. He is a freshman at KU. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Welcome to committee. All right, to start off, we will have a review of the 2025 Special Committee on the State Budget Adjustments, and Nicole will handle that.
Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Nicole Renscher. I'm a fiscal analyst with KLRD. I'm just going to very quickly go over this legislative adjustments to agency budget request that you see in front of you. It looks like this. We often refer to this as the shorthand. So during the interim, there was a special budget committee that met and made adjustments to the agency's budget request. This document will show the adjustments made to the budgets heard in this committee. So as you can see, there are two general government agencies that are heard in this committee. The rest are all public safety. So the 2025 Special Budget Committee made a few global motions that you're going to see throughout. I'm not going to go into specific detail on each of the agency's adjustments because as we do the budget presentations, the analysts will go over what the specific adjustments made to each agency were. But some of the global motions that you're going to see were to delete any requests by agencies to restore the 1.5% operating reductions contained in the 2025 Senate Bill 125. Delete any requests for the addition of FTE and associated funding above the fiscal year 26 approved level. Delete agency requested salary increases unless directed by existing law or part of a formal career progression plan for fiscal year 26 and 27. Delete reappropriations from all appropriated funds, so not just SGF funds, but all other funds as well, excluding capital improvements, education caseloads, human services caseloads, and assigned council caseloads in fiscal year 26. And then delete all enhancements and supplementals requested by state agencies for fiscal year 26 and fiscal year 27. Adopt the fall education consensus estimates for fiscal year 26, fiscal year 27, and fiscal year 28. Adopt the fall Board of Indigent Defense Services assigned council caseloads for fiscal year 26 and 27, and adopt the fall Kansas Lottery revised revenue estimates as reflected in the fall consensus revenue estimate. Those were the global motions that were made. We're doing budget recommendations today. The only agency that is going to appear in this shorthand is the Board of Technical Professions on page 2. As part of the global motion, they had the FTE position and funding deleted. And was the furnishing equipment an enhancement? Yes. And an enhancement for furnishing equipments was deleted. I will say one of the things that you're going to see that I want to point out before there are any questions, you can see this on the first page, an SGF reappropriation, sometimes it will look like the LBC has reversed that action and added funding back. This only appears that way because the agency themselves have lapsed reappropriated funds. And in order for those funds to not be double lapsed, it's going to look as though the committee has added them back in order to then lapse the full reappropriated amount. So are there any questions?
Any questions for Nicole? All right. Thank you very much. Okay, we will move on. We have 5 budget recommendations today. We will move on to our first one, Kansas Commission of Peace Officers. All right. So opening the budget recommendation for FY 2026, I move the LBC's recommendation HB 2434 for FY 2026. Do I have a second? All right, we have a second. Any discussion? Yep. All right, no discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. All right, FY 2026 passes. We're moving on to C-Post FY 2027. I move the LBC's recommendation HB 2434 for FY 2027. Can I get a second? Second by Representative Resman. Any discussion? Yep, Representative Ford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is it possible, these are documents that we got at our hearing last week. Do we have any of those available for anyone who doesn't have them? Thank you.
I'll give a minute so you can peek at that. All righty. We're on FY 2027. Is there any discussion on FY 27 for C-Post? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. All right, FY 2027 pass, and we will close the budget recommendation for C-Post. We will get the other 4 budgets passed out here before we start. All righty. Let's move on to our second budget recommendation, State Board of Technical Professions. I will open the budget recommendation with FY 2026. I move the LBC's recommendation HB 2434 for FY 2026. Can I get a second? Representative Resman, any discussion? There's no discussion on FY 26. We will, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. FY 26 is passed. We will move on to FY 2027. I move the LBC's recommendation HB 2434 for FY 2027. Do I have a second? Representative Ellis. Any discussion? Representative Hoy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So since we'd had this hearing last week, and I'm not sure who all among us followed along there, since we're doing the, did you say SBC or LBC?
LBC.
So the Legislative Budget Committee made another recommendation after the Special Budget Committee did, or?
It's the same committee. Well,
Well, there's also a Legislative Budget Committee, so I guess I just want to make sure. And I know what, oh, anyway, I think it's the Special Budget Committee that the chair and I were both on. But we did, since the committee took out all the enhancements, I would just note that the enhancement requests were removed for this year for 2027, which included an FTE funding for an assistant executive director. I would support having that position. I do think that since they said they've got increases in loads for architects, geologists, et cetera, it made sense to me. But I also don't really want to derail the budget either. So since we're starting at a baseline and not going through individual enhancements where we are usually dealing with, should we put these in or take them out? I guess I'll be a yes on the budget, but I do think it's unfortunate that we're not looking at it kind of item by item, and we're just going to pass a budget that had everything removed from it. So that's my comments. Thank you.
any further discussion on FY27? If no further discussion, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. All right, FY 2027 passes. That will close the budget recommendation for State Board of Technical Professions. We'll move to the State 911 Board. I will open the budget recommendation for 911 Board, FY 2026. I move the LBC's recommendation, HB 2434, for FY 2026. Could I get a second? Representative Hoy, any discussion? All right, if there's no discussion, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. All right, FY 2026 passes. Moving to FY 2027. I move the LBC's recommendation, HB 2434, for FY 2027 with one adjustment. And Chris is going to pass out an adjustment real fast. While he's passing that out, this is the $2 million for the critical mapping that we did last year. The plan was to do $2 million, 3 different years, to get to $6 million to cover the whole state. They had a tremendous amount of schools come forward. I think it was over 400 last year. This is a great deal, and it's good for the state. We need to continue this, in my opinion. So this will add $2 million to FY 2027. It is the same language as 2026. Any discussion on FY 27? Representative Delberding.
Thank you. And I do remember the facility mapping program for the most part. Could I get maybe a revisor give us a 10-second overview of what that does again?
Chris?
Apologies, I'm just pulling up the language to make sure I don't misspeak on the program.
While Chris is getting that pulled up, it's to essentially assist it. goes into all the K-12 schools.
I think it was grid mapping the schools for emergency response and so forth. I just wanted to make
Exactly.
sure that's what we're
Yep.
working on.
Go ahead, Chris.
Nothing behind it other than that, but.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So yeah, it directs the State 911 Board to operate this grant program. There's a prioritization for how the grants could be distributed to certain facilities. The priority would be, first, any public or private elementary school or secondary school. Second, any public post-secondary state educational institution. 3, government buildings. 4, mass gathering sites. And 5, healthcare facilities. So any Kansas PSAP could apply to the program for a grant to develop GIS data. And then the proviso also just kind of specifies how that GSI data should be presented. And that's essentially the program. But I can go into those specifics on that data or as requested.
Any further questions or discussions? Representative Hoy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We also got information that 100% of the submitted K-12 mapping applications for this grant have been awarded. And my big issue with this last session was that we did not provide enough funding for all schools to have the same safety measures in place. And it sounds like they are popular. There have been more requests than awards that have been granted. And it would cost another $4.5 million to get the rest of the 1,000 schools that aren't currently covered. So this is still not going to get us to all of the schools. Wish we would fund the $4.5 million. But on the same token, I hopefully we'll revisit this again next year and give them some more time to get the program going, because these people all had them done, but they haven't received their maps yet. So I think it is a valuable public safety measure. I just really encourage us to make sure that all Kansas kids have the same safety protocols in their schools.
Any further discussion? All right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. All right. FY 2027, the State 911 Board is approved. We will close the budget recommendation for State 911 Board, and we will open the budget recommendation for emergency medical services. All right, starting with FY 2026, I move the LBC's recommendation HB 2434 for FY 26 of the EMS Board. Can I get a second? Representative Ellis, any discussion? There's no discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. FY 2026 passes. We'll move to FY 2027. I move the LBC's recommendation HB 2434 for FY 2027. Can I get a second? Representative Resman, any discussion? Representative Hoy.
Okay, I got to follow along here. Because I just have to make sure what enhancements may or may not have been included, and I don't think they had any. So I'm buying myself time just to make sure I know what I'm voting on. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, any further discussion on FY 27? There's no further discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. FY 27 for EMS Board passes. That will close the budget recommendation for EMS Board, and we will move to Abstractors Board of Examiners. All right. For FY 2026, I move the LBC's recommendation HB 2434 for the Abstractors Board of Examiners. Second. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. All right. FY 2026 passes. Moving to FY 2027, I move the LBC's recommendation HB 2434 for FY 2027. Can I get a second? Second. Representative Hoy, any discussion? There's no discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. All right. FY 2027 is approved. That will finish up our budget recommendations for today. We have 2 budget hearings tomorrow, and we will be working very fast. Is our last day in here February 5th or report out? Yeah, we're going to finish up in here very quickly. My last report out into full appropriations is February 5th, so we will close out in here before that. So we'll get to work pretty hard in the next couple weeks. We're adjourned.